Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to High Trust Coaching Live. I am Bourman. I am the Divisional President for High Trust Coaching, and I have with me one of our master level coaches, Suzanne Fodor. Suzanne, welcome.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Wonderful, excited, ready to go.
Okay, terrific. Let's do this. So today we're going to be talking about a few things. We're going to be talking about referral partners. We're going to be talking about being back in the field again. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the market. But first, I thought we would talk a little bit about sales mastery, if that's okay with you, Suzanne. Yeah. So Suzanne, what was your, I get on every coaching call with my coaching members and, sales mastery is still such a buzz. We're still having amazing conversations around and probably will continue to. What was one of your highlights?
Well, first of all, I missed getting together and having us all together, the energy that's around sales mastery, but we'll do it again.
Yes, we will.
The biggest takeaway for me is, really drilling down back into the basics of relationships and how important your relationships are for the long run, long term, how you build your business, how you maintain your business. And for us in the field, how you know where your next paycheck's coming from. It's really important to get into those relationships and make them that much stronger. And I think part of that was a real good discussion about time management and really focusing those time frames on building those relationships.
Yeah, exactly. I know when we get busy, we have a tendency, which we have been for the last several months, maybe even a couple of years. We have a tendency to default, right? We have a tendency to default to old behavior, and that's almost like the worst thing we can be doing, And we definitely, and I know with our coaching members, we're keeping their eye on the ball. It's like, have you talked to your referral partners? Have you been engaging? I don't want any one of our coaching members to be left holding the bag when this market shifts, right?
Absolutely. We constantly talk about what is your ratio between refinances and purchases and how are you still out in the market when others are not. We have been extremely busy. It's like businesses are falling into our laps over the last few months, and we are taking it in stride like it's going to continue, and it's not going to continue. I've been in the business 32 years. I know what my bread and butter is, and that is my relationships. And for those that are new, they don't necessarily know that, and they don't necessarily focus on that. And that, as part of coaching, is what we focus on, is continuing to make those calls, continuing to have those conversations to keep the business coming in from our referral partners. Because refinances are going to go away. They always do. Where are you going to be after that? Right. What's your market share? How are you focusing on your future?
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. And it is something, and I would imagine, and I want to say that during COVID, Suzanne, so many of our referral partners, our realtor partners, really truly needed us.
Absolutely.
Right? I think that they needed to have those conversations. They needed to say, okay, you know how to pivot. I don't know how to pivot. How do I pivot? What can we be doing better? What is going on in the market? So I think as a referral partner, we're doing a great job as a partner to them in helping them navigate through this environment, I would say.
Absolutely. The first few months, we were extremely busy, but our referral partners, our real estate agents, were not busy. Business seemed to just take a halt for them until things worked out and people realized that they could move and work remotely. And next thing you know, purchase business went crazy. But during the time that they were not busy, they needed to hear from us on how they can contact their database, how they can start working on referrals from people that they've worked on in the past. And they need to know that we're still there for them. We're not ignoring them. And that our tools and our resources can only help and benefit them and their business. And we have tools at High Trust that are fantastic to give to those referral partners that they would have never have without us.
Yeah, exactly. And it really kind of shifts. I know we talk a lot about at High Trust, we talk a lot about moving from vendor to partner, right? And that's one of the elements of, that we do, or one of the strategies that we work on very intently to make sure that we are not a vendor. We're not just, another lender, that we are their partner. And the way we come to our partner is to help them be as successful as they care to be, right?
Right. Absolutely. And I noticed with a lot of my coaching clients that are just really kind of starting out, they have to get the mindset of they're not salespeople. We're not here to sell anybody anything. We're here to provide a service and be the go-to for the information and the resources needed for not only our clients, but our referral partners. Mm-hmm. And that's where you get back to, not being the vendor, but being the partner of our business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And, so, and the thing is, it's also been, I've been hearing, and now you may have been hearing it as well, I'm sure you have, of some of our referral partners, some of our coaching members are actually kind of firing some of their real estate agents, firing some of those relationships because maybe they're crazy makers, maybe they're not really fully as invested in their businesses or the partnership as they need to be in order for it to be truly successful. What have you been hearing on that, Suzanne?
Well, they're identifying who their referral partners are and who they want to do business with, and they're getting rid of the time suckers.
Yeah,
the ones that call them in the middle of the night for a pre-approval letter when they know they're going to go send that client somewhere else, or the client's already working with someone else. And working with high trust, you really realize who is your power partner, who is your referral partner, how do you get along with them, what traits are you looking for in order to make that connection? And honestly, not everybody's right for you. Mm-hmm. And you have to identify that and have those hard conversations. So when you're out there doing high trust sales conversations, you're learning who these people are and identifying what their needs are, what they want from you, and whether or not that's a good fit. Mm-hmm. That's why we're constantly talking to our referral partners and, asking them high trust questions. And making sure we're all on the same page, we all understand each other and realize that, we are partners here. I don't work for you. Mm-hmm. I work with you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, Suzanne, and I think that is the magic in the high trust interview. And when you go in with that mindset, it's to, obviously you're going into that interview to understand better what success looks like to that referral partner. What does, what are their core values? Right. How do they feel about your clients? How are they taking care of their clients? What's important to them in working with a lender? And you are interviewing them just as much as they are maybe perhaps interviewing you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's key questions, and getting to know who that person really is on a deeper level, not just business, but personally, and what's important to them personally as well as professionally. And that's not only where you learn whether or not you want to do business with them and whether or not you're a good fit, but how you build that relationship. We all have client barbecues and thank you for business parties and so on. And that's where we really get into, who we are and who they are and what's important to them and making that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So Suzanne, we're kind of, market is shifting a little bit. And we're starting to see that we need to start, having those conversations with our referral partners if we aren't already. Mm-hmm. So talk to me, what are some of the challenges that you're finding with some of our coaching members in getting back out in the field and engaging on those conversations?
Yeah, well, some markets are really slowing down and business isn't falling into your lap. And I'm finding that a lot of these, that my clients are feeling that fear of failure, which is really brought into call reluctance. We have to get back to making those phone calls again and feeling good and comfortable about making those phone calls. They haven't been contacting their database like they should. And making those calls now almost feels awkward to them after 6 months, 8 months, however long, they've been super busy and they're kind of nervous. What do I say? What do I do? How do I approach this? It's like any relationship. I haven't talked to you in a while. Hi, I'm still here. Yeah. So we're finding that fear of failure is creeping back in again. And we've got to have those conversations about how to make those calls and have those conversations. And I think one of the best things about high trust is we've got scripts to help with that. Mm-hmm. Practice these scripts. It's like, it's like second nature, making those phone calls and making everyone on the line feel comfortable and doing it. And we're really working on call reluctance and making those calls and setting a goal and getting through it. And, it's like anything, the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yes.
So, right? So right now it's about going back to the basics, making those calls and
connecting with our database, because some people are slowing down and they're thinking, holy moly, what do I do next? And the tools that we have really helped them get past that.
Right. And several of our markets are really picking up on the purchase, in the purchase environment. And, I'm hearing more from our coaching members that, where maybe a month or two ago, they were 60-40, maybe even 80-20, buy to purchase.
Yeah.
That is shifting. And that is telling me that my coaching member is out talking to the referral partners, is out taking advantage of the purchase market that is very, very active right now.
Yeah.
And so they're getting closer to 50-50. Some of them are doing an even better job, Suzanne. Some of them are 80-90% purchase, which is a super smart thing in my arena.
Yeah, absolutely. And as coaches, we've been talking about this for months. So we know what's going to happen, and we're making them very aware of their ratio between purchase and refinances, and where's this going to go, and be aware of this. Not many people are knowledgeable about where their business is coming from. They're just, head to the grindstone and keep moving and get this done, 18-hour days and so on. But those 18-hour days are going to stop. And we have to start focusing on the purchase market again. And as coaches, we've been really talking about that for months now. How to not be left behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Not be the last one knocking on the door.
Right.
Your referral partner when your other, competitors are out there doing the same thing, maybe earlier and in different ways.
Yeah. I think that is the difference in what we teach at High Trust, is being intentional about our business and not being at the effect of our business. And I think that's a very, very, distinction. That's the distinction between what we do at High Trust and High Trust coaching, and what we teach from High Trust selling, and our methodologies and our business approaches is to be proactive, to be intentional and strategic about our business, so that no matter what is going on in the marketplace, we're going to win.
Yes. And that's where we go back to the time blocking calendar. And we should all be using that from, years ago, months ago, to not only stay in the business of refinances, but to take that time, and only that time, to focus on what we need to do to be in front of our referral partners. And be consistent about it, consistency, keeping it going, always.
So, Suzanne, you talked a little bit about call reluctance and fear of failure. How do you get past that? How are we coaching our coaching members to that?
Well, some of them I'll do role play and conversations as if, I'm the client or I'm the loan officer, and get them a little bit comfortable with what they're saying. And then we make a goal. We start out with their A+ clients and the people that already know, love, and trust us, to make those warm calls, to get used to making those warm calls. And in Todd's High Trust book, there's a whole chapter about call reluctance and fear of failure. And failure should be something we learn through, not something to fear. If we fail on something, we have to look back and say, okay, well, how can we do that better next time? Instead of repeating that process. And by learning that, you get better at your craft, better at what you do. And realizing that, okay, I failed at that, but I'm going to fix it. I'm going to look at it a different way, instead of shrinking away and not trying again. So we got a lot about that, about how we learn from these mistakes, because we all make mistakes.
Yes.
Human, right?
Yeah.
And you have to just kind of eat crow every once in a while, but at least you're admitting it, you're confronting it, you're acknowledging it, and you're learning from it and moving forward.
Yes, absolutely. And, and it's so true. And I think that, I had read, and I'm trying to remember where I read it, or if I heard someone say it on Sales Mastery, is that if you're not failing, you're not growing.
Absolutely.
Right? If you're not failing, you're not growing.
Absolutely. I've had a couple of my clients bring failures to me, and we talk about it. And how did that go? And what could you have done differently? And sometimes it's about systems. Systems, implementing new systems, better systems than what they're working with, to avoid those type of failures. Right now, I think part of the failure is that we're so busy, we're not connecting with our borrowers and our real estate agents, because we don't have time to just give them an update, just give them a phone call. Say, I don't have anything to tell you. I'm just letting you know that you're not forgotten. And we should always be the one to make the first phone call. Shouldn't have our clients contacting us. What's happening? What's the status? I don't think you're paying attention to me. That should never happen. We should make that time to make those phone calls. And if we're too busy to do it, you have assistants. You have somebody else that can do it. And at least somebody is touching base with those people when they're 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 12 weeks in underwriting for a refinance. You got to let them know you're still top of mind and you're in the process. I don't have anything to tell you yet, but at least I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly. And that means, it means a lot, because then, you don't want anybody wondering.
Right.
You don't want anybody saying, oh, I wonder what's happening with this, or I wonder what's happening with that, and they're not really looking for, necessarily movement, and, but they're just looking for that, for that connection, for that touch point to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. I just want to let you know what's happening. So, so we talk about the call reluctance, and I was talking to a coaching member yesterday, and she has made several attempts to do a high trust interview with a new agent relationship. And she's made several attempts and, made a few calls, and the agent, has not given her an appointment. The agent is referring her business, but she's not given her appointment. And, and so I think that is a default that we kind of fall into, that maybe we don't need to do the high trust interview. Maybe we don't need to do that face-to-face because, well, the agent's already referring business to me. Don't get lulled into that. Why is that, right?
Right. Don't get lulled into that. And if you can't get that high trust interview, or even just 1 5-minute phone call to talk about one question on the interview, become their resource. Drop off something really cool like the $6,000 egg book that shows them what customer service is all about. Send them a resource that somebody else isn't sending them on how to manage their database or time management, or something to be a little more in their face, in their world, and being more than just, hey, I just want your business. I just want a phone call with you. It's about providing a service for them, and they'll warm up. They're busy.
Yeah. They're
super busy. And unfortunately, so many markets, we still can't walk in to an office and talk to people. We can't get together for coffee or a drink after work. We've got to have that phone call, and it's hard for some people to make that time. They just feel like they don't need to, because agents are super busy right now too.
Yeah.
And referral partners, they're super busy. They think they don't need that. But if they're still referring business to you, then you're doing something right. Well, step up a little bit and do something even better and different to be that resource and provide them with something that they don't already have.
Yeah. So sometimes what that tells me is maybe the agent doesn't find that making that appointment is important. So maybe the way, so I'll always be asking, well, how are you asking for the appointment? What is that conversation sounding like? We have scripts for that, right? To setting those appointments. And, if the agent feels as though it's important to them to have that conversation, to have that Zoom meeting, which is actually a little bit easier than meeting for coffee.
Right.
Just saying, and then to make sure that they're understanding how important that is, because once they get into a true high trust interview with a mortgage lender, they're going to go, oh my God, I had no idea how important this conversation was.
Right.
I've never had a conversation like this with a lender. Thank you. I haven't even thought about what my plans are for 2021, and those types of things. And they come away being glad that they've had that appointment with you, being happy that they had that conversation with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they feel more connected to you.
Yes.
At a deeper level. And then we learn from those conversations what their needs are to be able to provide assistance with those needs and that partner that they've never had before.
Exactly. So talk to me a little bit about what it's been like for you to be a coach for high trust coaching, Suzanne.
Totally fun. So a little bit about me and my background. I've been doing this for 32 years. And if anybody's counting, I started when I was 12 years old.
Yes.
And a few years ago and attending sales mastery and so on and so forth, I realized that I needed something to
to make me more energetic and not feel burnout about my business after all these years. I've done everything from, being an originator to being a business owner and having, huge offices and so on, to back now doing just what I enjoy. And going through coaching, I did coaching, or someone coached me for a year, and it was great. And we both realized, maybe you should be doing this. And what I've gotten out of it is I'm giving back. I'm helping others that don't see things the way I see them do better in their business. And we have aha moments. That is super cool. I get a phone calls feeling fantastic that I've helped somebody do something that they never thought of doing before that's going to help their business.
Yes.
I feel like I've seen it all, done it all. And I want to share that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you bring such immense value, Suzanne, to our coaching faculty. You have every quality that we need in our high trust coaches, and that is, experience, actively engaged in the business, wanting to give back, has savvy professional, is super, accomplished. So, we thank you so much for your time and that you invest in our coaching members. So, let's talk a little bit about 2021. What should we be thinking about? This is mid-October or third week in October. What should we be thinking about to position ourselves well in 2021?
I almost feels like going back to the basics.
Yep.
Doing our business plan. How many people do you need to talk to per day to close the amount of business you want to close for the year? And then being realistic about 2021. 2020 has been a record year for so many people. We've done just an amazing amount of business, but that's not normal. So where do you want to be to get to maybe where you are today next year? And what does that look like? So doing that business plan and starting now is crucial. It's figuring out how many people you need to talk to. Where's that business coming from? At master level, what's your team like? Who are they and how can they benefit you, and maybe restructuring a few things. So looking to 2021, even though, we're getting into the holidays and so on, this is the time to do it and be realistic and get with your team, find out what their goals and motivations are to be able to help you as either a leader or someone who just, is originating and working with a processing team and so on to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think have gone, even in our busyness for this past year, we've learned a lot about ourselves. And, we should be taking note of what we've learned, what we've done well, right. Maybe what we haven't done so well that maybe we'd like to do better, different. Right. And what we want to, one of the things that, that I've been thinking a lot about is what do I want to be bringing into 2021? And you talked a minute about team, Suzanne, and making sure that you're positioned and looking at your team and saying, do I have the right team in place? And do I need another person to be accomplishing what it is that I want to accomplish in 2021? And if you don't, let's not start looking for that person, in December or January. Let's start putting that together now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at your team and what their strengths have been through this unprecedented time, and maybe repositioning some people or repositioning the tasks or developing new systems that will work better in the future. It's just such an eye-opener that we've gone through in the last 6-8 months or so of how we work. Yeah. How we do things and what our systems and team can provide for us. Because, honestly, as loan officers, we don't want to work 18 hours a day. That's not fun.
Yeah.
So how do we change that in 2021? How do we get back out there in the field or Zoom or however you do it to do best? Because most of us in this business are really, people person. We want to get out there and see people. We don't want to stand behind, a desk and do paperwork. So how do we fix that? And just working on that. And, one of the things that I'm talking to my clients about is the top 20 life assessment for 2021.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, right. Bring that back. We did it earlier this year. And that focuses on not only our business goals, but our professional goals. And what do we want in our lives for next year to bring calm and balance into our life and really assess how we've done that this year And we're finding a lot of people have done, not much as far as promoting their own self actualization and who they are and what they want from their life. Just go into yoga, get to the gym, work out again. It's important for our mental state to take care of ourselves first.
Exactly. And I would imagine, and, correct me if I'm wrong, and it's something that we're doing right now in coaching is we're kind of going through a review of the Life Mastery Top 20 that our coaching members did at the beginning of the year. And a lot of it is just kind of fallen off the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, it's a good time to be kind of reviewing that and saying, before the year is over, I'm going to at least execute on this, make 1%. As James Clear talks about that 1% improvement, I'm going to at least make a 1% improvement between now and the end of the year.
Yes. And determining one thing that you really want to focus on, whether it's family, relationships that you haven't had the time to focus on. Well, what's important to you? Mm-hmm. What's really important to you? Yeah. So when all this goes away, what are you left with?
Right.
You're left with, yourself and the people you love. And that has to be an important part of your life and your business and, everything you do every day.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question on this. And this is, kind of out of left field. So, I love talking to you, Suzanne, and, I love having these conversations with you. And I'm wondering, as we're doing our Life Mastery review, should we be having a conversation with our family saying, what would you like to see have happen?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. I would have a spouse or significant other do their own life, top 20 life assessment and compare the two and find out what's important to this person you care about as well as what's important to you. One of the clients that I've talked about has had a record year. He told me yesterday that he met a personal goal of a paycheck of $1.1 million gross dollars for the year.
Wow.
Yes. That's great, but what's happening with your family? What's your goal for your family and your life and your wife and your future? And we sat down and talked about a 20-year goal together with his wife. And we thought, wow, I really need to do that. It's great doing all this and making all this money, but where are we going to go with it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because we, in coaching, we do kind of keep our members, we kind of keep their eye on the ball. So I'm seeing a lot of our coaching members that are positioning themselves, that are, moving maybe to, a place where they can have more family time and repositioning themselves, becoming maybe dual state. I have some coaching members that, that are, they are thinking about these things and they are making these shifts and changes and looking at it. And it's just really kind of fun to see them, how well they're positioning themselves. And I had a fairly new coaching member ask me not too long ago, well, aren't all of your coaching members insanely busy? And I said, yes, they are. They are insanely busy, but I think they're a little bit better positioned. I think they're a little bit better able to manage the capacity and the volume and all of the challenges that have come along with, not only the volume, but COVID and everything else. And then maybe a little bit better equipped, maybe I should say, to really take advantage of this. Would you say?
Yeah, and they brought in the teams and the people on their team that they need to help them with those things that they shouldn't be doing. And isn't the whole point of our job as coaches to show people how to work smarter, not harder?
Yes.
We should be working in a smarter way to be able to not work as many hours as we do and be able to take that Friday afternoon off to coach your kids' basketball team, to spend time with your wife, have a lunch, a date night, a date evening or whatever. That's what it's all about. It's not about always just the numbers. It's about how are you going to make those numbers work for you?
Exactly. How are you going to make those numbers work for you? That's. I think we should kind of end with that. How are we going to make these numbers work for us, right? And ask yourself that question. Ask yourself the question that Suzanne just posed to everyone that's listening or will be listening. How are we going to make those dollars work for you? So I love that, Suzanne. I am always on the hunt for qualified, coaches like Suzanne. And so, obviously our coaches have to be, There are unique profiles. So if you're interested in becoming a high trust coach, you want to find out more about what it's like to be a high trust coach and what it takes to qualify, shoot me an email. Let me know that you're interested. I'd love to have that conversation with you. For those of you that are thinking about coaching or kind of on the fence about coaching and just want to hear a little bit more about our program, get a free coaching consultation. Talk to one of our coach consultants. They'll walk you through exactly what the program is, kind of talk to you where you are and how we can help you get where you want to be. So just go to hightrustcoaching.com and schedule a free coaching call. I would love to have that conversation with you. Suzanne, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. This has been so much fun. We should do this more often.
It's always fun. We always have a great conversation. And becoming a coach, one of the best parts about it is you get to work with other fantastic people who are coaches. And I've made tremendous relationships and friendships from this with other coaches and have become my mentors as well. So it's a great experience.
Exactly. Very, very true. We end up with a very, very high level club, right?
Yeah. Yep. And thanks to you, Hope, because you put it all together and you match up very well. Your coaches, your clients, and your coaches to the system.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny, when I came on board working with Todd and taking over the division, I had the pleasure of talking to the coaches that were already on staff. And I did one-on-ones with all of them. Each one of them, made time for me to have that conversation with them. And I got off, the phone with each one of those coaches that I first started having those conversations. And I called Todd and I said, you have got an amazing group of people that have engaged as coaches. I want to maintain that same culture. And so every time I bring on a new coach, that's what I'm listening for. I'm listening for, are you going to fit the culture? And are you going to fit that profile of being that super amazing individual? Right? Yeah,
absolutely. Get something out of it for themselves.
Exactly. So I'm going to end our call today, or end our broadcast today. Is there anything you want to make sure everybody is aware of today?
Just be aware of your conversations, who you're talking to and what you're saying.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. Terrific. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. And we will be back on next week for High Trust Coaching Live. And I look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, have an outstanding week.
You too. Take care, Hope.
All right, dear.